Good evening and welcome to the Guilderland Central School District's Board of Education meeting. Today is September 9th. Can everyone please stand for the pledge and silence their cell phones? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we'd like to start off with the oath of office for our brand new ex officio student board member, our first ever. Parth, do you have a copy of the oath of office? Let's see here.
Yep.
Okay, and would you like him to be up here or over there for the oath?
That's good.
How about right there in your spot? And Mr. Stracha, if you'd like to stand with him. Whenever you're ready, Parth.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, from the mic? All right. I do solemnly swear that I will abide by the District Code of Conduct, treat others with respect, and fulfill the role of student ex officio Board of Education member per Board of Education policy and to the best of my ability.
Great. Thank you and welcome.
Congratulations.
And congratulations. And then next, you're going to do dual roles here, right? It's the student report.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Parth Surecha, and I'm also the student government and student representative to the Board of Education. It's such an honor to be here tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ryan. I'm the other Student Board of Education representative. It's a pleasure to be with you all tonight. It's been a busy 2 weeks here at the high school, as I'm sure you all know, with school starting last week. But for many people, the school year actually began before the official start of school. The first event was our freshman tours, which were on August 28th. This was a chance for both freshmen and new students to have a chance to walk around the school, either with one of our GHS student leaders or just by themselves or with a parent. They got to familiarize themselves with the schedule without having the pressure of, having to rush to a class or having to use the bathroom in the middle of their first day. Then on Wednesday, September 3rd, we had our freshman orientation. This was essentially a half day in which all freshmen and new students to the district got a chance to come to the school. They started with a presentation from our staff, and then they essentially had a simulated day in which all classes were approximately 10 minutes, but they got to experience all the parts of the high school, such as walking their classes, meeting their teachers, and everyone's favorite part, waking up early for the bus. And then obviously school started Thursday, and then this Monday we had our senior sunrise here at the high school, in which all of our seniors gathered on the football field and we all watched the sunrise together. It was quite the fun event. And then this week, starting September 8th through the 11th, is school pictures here at GHS. They're happening in the West Gym, so all students should be prepared for gym when they're taking pictures and not playing dodgeball. And then in a couple weeks, we're going to have our Spirit Week, and this will start on September 22nd. This is going to be a week full of different themes for students to dress up throughout the week, culminating in our Spirit Rally on Friday, September 26th, then our homecoming game later that night, and then the homecoming dance on Saturday, September 27th. I'm now going to hand it over to Parth to finish our update.
Thanks, Ryan. So yeah, we've had a lot going on over these past weeks, but it's almost over, I promise. So I'm going to talk about one of the things that everyone's been raving about these past couple of weeks, namely the Yonder pouches. Have you guys all seen the Yonder pouches? Felt it? Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure, so I brought it to Vanna White it just in case, like you guys hadn't seen it. But essentially, this is how they work. They have the pin over here, and you push it in like this. I'm going to be careful not to lock it here. And you lock it like this. Students put them in, and they're not allowed to unlock them until the end of the day. So there's multiple unlocking stations all throughout the building, namely 2 in the math wing, 6 in the main lobby, and 2 by the language wing. That's what I counted, at least. I walked through to see how many there were. So from what I've seen, it's not a really, really big holdup to students like having to unlock their phones. It's kind of like a big red tin. And on that tin, there's 2 unlocking stations, one in the front, one in the back. So 2 students can do it at once, which is really nice. And it does add in a minute or 2 comparing to just walking out the door. But it's definitely not something that's holding up students and keeping them from getting on the bus in time. I would say that I only saw this for one day, but I did have to talk to a teacher after school. And about 10 or 15 or so minutes after I had to come back, I saw that the stations were gone. So I had to go. There's still ways to unlock the phones. You go to the main office and do it. They have a portable one there. But I thought if they could be open for, like, there's one that they place in the main lobby for a little bit longer, that would be a little nicer. But again, it's not the end of the world if it's not. They have them at the main office. Also coming up is GHS Open House on September 18th, where parents can come in and kind of relive their old days in their child's schedule and kind of walk around the school. They're going to have to see how much we walk around. So I tell my dad, you can't blame me for being tired when I get home. And then also, after-school buses will begin at Guilderland on September 22nd, and that also means the after-school program. So it's the same as it's been in the past couple of years. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday are after-school days. Students can go for about 40 minutes or so and talk to a teacher, make up work with them, go to a club, and then the after-school buses will be provided to help bring students home after that. And then finally, one more thing I'll be reporting on is our TEDx event that's happening. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the TED program, like the TED Talks and TEDx. So a student here at Guilderland High School is hosting a local TEDx right here at Guilderland on Saturday, September 27th, where students from our own high school will be talking about various subjects, from speed cubing to dinosaurs to medical schools in the United States. So I hope to see a lot of people there and hearing about things and stories that truly matter, as Ted puts it. Thank you so much and have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
both. Then we'll move on to public comments, and I know we had a few. It looks like we have some in-persons as well. Okay, so why don't we start with Ms. Duffy? Okay. So do we have a copy of it? I don't think I have a copy of that one. So I'm going to table that until second public comment. And then we have, the other ones are to be read aloud. I just want to confirm. Okay. Although Amanda, you want to just do yours? I'd like to have the in-persons go first. Okay, great, thank you.
Hi, I'm Amanda Beadle, and I'm here tonight representing the Caring Closet. We did speak at opening day to the faculty, but we wanted to let you know that after the fact, we had a lot of positive response, and we also came to find that a lot of people didn't know we existed. So what I am here tonight is to read a letter of impact from one of your retired social workers that I received. And the Caring Closet is a hygiene pantry that supports all 7 schools in the Guilderland School District. The letter states, "Dear Amanda, I am writing to thank you for making such a positive impact in our school community by offering the Caring Closet program to every Guilderland school family. I have been a social worker for almost 40 years, and in all of my career, I have never seen a hygiene pantry. It is such a wonderful idea, and it really has made a difference in the schools that I work in. It has helped families, impacted individual students, and has allowed educators more effectively to help their special education population. Families have informed me that knowing that they will have a monthly supply of hygiene items has given them a feeling of security. It provides peace of mind that they can provide for their children, and with the increased cost of many products, you have supported these families more than you realize. At one of the elementary schools, you helped 2 special educators create a spa where 2 elementary-age children from 2 different families would come each day to get help with their hair and hygiene. These are life skills that these students need support to master. One of the students said that they just did not want to feel dirty and love learning how to do their own hair. That's sad. The impact of this was big. These children increased their confidence, and their relationship with their peers improved as a result. Being more accepted socially is a huge impact on a child and improves the overall atmosphere of a classroom. The children learn skills that they will access throughout their lifetime. To the Caring Closet volunteers and all of its staff, I have to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are difference makers. You have made an impact. Sincerely, Catherine Rochetti, retired social worker. In the 3.5 years we've been in existence, we finish out the school year, we have donated $102,128 worth of retail donated value products. That's 59,102 items that have come out to support all 7 schools in this district. We did poll at the end of the year, the families that we do help in the elementary school, just to see like satisfaction survey or how we can improve. One of the things we are doing to improve this year is the social worker intake form. So we're currently reaching out to all our social workers right now. But we asked two major questions at the end. How have these products helped support your family? Check all that apply. Helped us save money was a 78.9% response. Reduced some stress for our families was 57.9% response. Helped us feel more confident and ready for school or work was a 52.6% response. Helped us pay some bills was 36.8% response, and helped us stay healthy, 21.1%. We asked them, is there anything else you'd like to share with us? We are incredibly grateful. This program is helpful and reduces stress for our family of 5 members. This was a wonderful program to take advantage of, especially with the high cost of groceries right now. Thank you, a family of 5. It's so amazing to receive help in areas that aren't always a priority, like food. What a wonderful experience, amazing help for our family, a family of 8. Thank you so much for the help. Our family really appreciated it. 5 members. The program is perfect. Thank you for these products. There's 3 members. And we really did appreciate this program. Thank you, 4 members. By you allowing us to partner with you as an organization, we are helping hundreds right here in our Guilderland community. So thank you.
So much, Amanda. That's a lovely way to start. And thank you for your service. I know it comes from your heart. Ms. Duffy isn't here yet, so I'll move forward with the ones that were submitted via email. I'm going to go in chronological order, so I'm going to begin with the first one that was submitted by Benson Lee on August 19th. Dear members of the board, I am writing as a concerned parent to respectfully draw your attention to the current condition of the tennis courts at GHS. The current state of the courts, particularly the uneven surfaces and worn areas, poses a serious risk of injury to student athletes and others who utilize these facilities. Given the physical demands of tennis, a safe and properly maintained playing surface is essential for preventing avoidable accidents. This matter is not only one of student safety, but also of supporting excellence. The Guilderland High School tennis team has consistently demonstrated commitment, discipline, and competitive achievement, proudly representing our school and district. Their success is a testament to both their dedication and the support of our school community. However, it is disheartening that their training environment does not reflect the high standards to which they aspire. In light of these concerns, I respectfully urge the board to take immediate action to address the safety hazards by repairing and resurfacing the existing courts. Furthermore, I encourage the board to consider the addition of more courts. An expansion would not only alleviate scheduling pressures, but also enable the school to host tournaments and provide opportunities for broader student participation. Such an investment would promote both safety and school pride while enhancing our district's standing in athletics. I trust that the board shares the community's commitment to providing safe and supportive environments for all students. I thank you for your consideration of this request and for your continued dedication to the well-being and success of our children. Sincerely, Benson Lee, parent of a GHS student. Okay, and here is another one from Mr. Shang, submitted on August 20th. Dear members of the board, I hope you had a great summer break. I am writing as a concerned parent to respectfully draw your attention to the current condition of the tennis courts at GHS. The current state of the courts, particularly the uneven surfaces and worn areas, poses a serious risk of injury to student athletes and others who utilize these facilities. Given the physical demands of tennis, a safe and properly maintained playing surface is essential for preventing avoidable accidents. This matter is not only of student safety, but also of supporting excellence. The Guilderland High School tennis team has consistently demonstrated commitment, discipline, and competitive achievement, proudly representing our school and district. Their success is a testament to both their dedication and the support of our school community. However, it is disheartening that their training environment does not reflect the high standards to which they aspire. In light of these concerns, I respectfully urge the board to take immediate action to address the safety hazards by repairing and resurfacing the existing courts. Furthermore, I encourage the board to consider the addition of more courts. An expansion will not only alleviate scheduling pressures, but also enable the school to host tournaments and provide opportunities for broader student participation. Such an investment would promote both safety and school pride while enhancing our district's standing in athletics. I trust the board shares the community's commitment to providing safe and supportive environments for all students. I thank you for your consideration of this request and for your continued dedication to the well-being and success of our children. That was Mr. Shang. Okay, and the next one is submitted. Oh, this is a nice font. Thank you, Michelle. The next one is submitted by Ms. Fontaine, I believe. Yes. Good afternoon, members of the Guilderland Board of Education. My name is Danielle Fontaine. I am the mother of Brooklyn Scavio, who is entering 9th grade this year. She is actively participating in her second year of varsity tennis at Guilderland High School. The reason for this letter is to bring awareness of an issue that was brought to my attention by Brooklyn last evening while at practice. She was playing in a doubles match with her teammates and fell on the court, twisting her ankle. The cause of her fall was due to the unleveled surface and divots that have been created over time. These areas also tend to hold water when it rains, worsening the condition of the court. Thankfully, Brooklyn was able to walk this incident off with minor soreness later that evening, but next time that may not be the case. This is a major safety concern for the students playing on these courts. It is imperative due to the nature of the sport that the condition of the courts be level and clean, free from divots or uneven surfaces that could pose a threat to the safety of those playing on them. I know the Guilderland School District takes great pride in their student body, their wellness, both inside the classroom and out. As a mother with 3 children in Guilderland schools, I have seen this firsthand over the course of their academic careers. And the concern should not stop there with our students. We host many local schools at our facility, and it is our responsibility to ensure a safe playing experience for our other students as well. Please take this matter into strong consideration, and I ask that these courts are surveyed and repaired in a timely fashion. Thank you for your time and consideration in this matter. Sincerely, Danielle Fontaine. I'd just like to add that this was received or sent originally on August 28th. Okay. The next one is from Amanda Hand. Good morning, or good evening. My name is Amanda Hand, and I am writing on behalf of my daughter, Gemini Ray, a 9th grade student at GHS, as well as other students at FMS and GHS. My daughter was cut from the JV team despite being recognized as a very talented player with excellent natural hands for a setter, simply because there wasn't a spot for her. Our volleyball teams have an overwhelming number of girls trying out, and many of them, despite their talent, do not make the team. I personally know several skilled players who were cut due to the sheer number of participants. I am requesting the board to consider adding a freshman team to our district. Volleyball has seen significant growth across the U.S. in recent years, and our school is no exception, with increasing numbers of students trying out each year. Over 30 girls tried out for JV, and more than 70 tried out for modified. Many of these girls dedicate themselves to academics within the school and participate in travel volleyball outside of school, all in hopes of making a team. My daughter, Gemini, has aspirations of playing at the collegiate level, and as a parent, I am doing everything I can to support her in achieving that goal. While adding a freshman team may not directly benefit her since she will be a 10th grader at the next tryout, it will undoubtedly help other girls in our school who share similar goals and dreams. Thank you, Amanda Han. Okay, the next one is from Mahesh Nalamatu. Dear members of the board, I am writing to express my concern about the current state of tennis courts at Guilderland High School. The uneven surfaces and worn areas pose a serious risk to students, and a properly maintained playing surface is essential for preventing injuries. The GHS team has shown incredible dedication and achievement, yet their training environment is not up to standard. I urge the board to approve funding to repair and resurface the existing courts. Additionally, please consider adding more courts to alleviate scheduling issues and allow the school to host tournaments. This investment would improve student safety and support the continued success of our athletic programs. Thank you for your time and your commitment to our students' well-being. Sincerely, Mahish Nalamatu, parent. Okay, and I think our last one is from Ivanka Barna. I would like this email read as a public comment in this evening's Board of Education meeting. As a mother of Guilderland girls varsity tennis player, I'm writing to express some of my concerns and other concerns that I've heard over the last 4 years from all of the girls on the JV and varsity tennis teams and numerous parents, including the parents from all of our competitors, their coaches, their parents, as well as our coaches and community members regarding the safety of the players and split up situation with our tennis courts. Tennis courts 1 through 4 are sitting on top of a marsh. Water pools to the surface. There are cracks, divots, and holes in the surface, which could cause injuries. Nobody wants to see any of our athletes get seriously injured or the school district potentially sued with the condition and negligence of our courts. We've already had some minor injuries this year and have had major injuries in previous years due to poor conditions of the courts, which are just worsening year after year. Additionally, the courts are separated by a big parking lot, not allowing the coaches to tend to all of our players effectively and efficiently during practices and matches. The gate to the east side courts is bent and almost unfunctional. We do not have regular maintenance of the courts, leaf blowing out puddles of water, leaving the responsibility to our varsity and JV coaches, which takes away the time that they have to work with our girls. We could also use some bleachers around the east side courts with this proposal. One of our parents looked into the cost of having new tennis courts built on the east side where the doubles courts are currently. The cost of placing the courts together on one side of the parking lots is approximately $600,000. This is a fairly minuscule amount in a typical budget and nothing compared to the cost of repairs and replacements that we approved in previous budgets for other sports. The Booster Club has purchased uniform tops for the players, as this is something that rotates through the athletic department and has also not been in the budget. Our coaches are also lacking an assistant coach, which most schools have in their tennis team programs. As taxpayers in the district, with the safety of our daughters being of utmost concern, along with desiring our coaches to have the ability to oversee all of our athletes, get help with approval of an assistant coach, I am asking that the board and district consider adding an intermittent budget proposal to have new tennis courts put in and placed together. I realize the budget for this year has been dispersed, but I'm kindly asking and begging that the board, district presents a request to have a vote to approve at least 9 new tennis courts to be placed together on the east side of GHS, an assistant coach for varsity and JV, some bleachers, regular maintenance of the courts, including leaf blowing, etc., as well as perhaps a uniform budget. We only have 8 courts, not allowing third doubles to start their match until one of the courts frees up. We fight daylight savings time in the fall. All of the schools that we've competed against have newer courts in very good condition, whilst our tennis courts are sporadically repaired with Band-Aids over broken legs. I'm going to finish because I'm just a slow reader. Our varsity tennis team has some remarkable competitive years. Last year, the varsity team beat Bethlehem High School 5-4, being our first win against Bethlehem in around 2 decades. The varsity tennis team actually won all of their matches except their match against Saratoga last year, who ranked number 1. This year, our varsity girls have beat Saratoga, Bethlehem, Scotia, and Queensborough. We are on a 4-0 winning streak. Our tennis players are very dedicated athletes, students, and role models who at the very best deserve to play on safe tennis courts that are together, allowing their coaches the ability to coach. Having an invested interest in the tennis program with my daughter playing, the love of tennis, and all of the girls that play for Guilderland, those who have played in previous years, as well as being concerned for all of the young ladies that come to Guilderland to play against our girls safely, I'm requesting that you, our board members, take this into consideration for a proposed vote. Thank you. Sincerely, Ivanka Bauer. Was that it? Are there any other ones? Okay. Did Christine Duffy perhaps send an email?
Did not. I attached everything she sent.
Okay. So, yeah, all I see is a communication.
That's it.
Okay. So no, I'm just going to confirm. I don't want to let her down if she's watching here. Okay. All right, well, Ms. Duffy, if you're watching, you're welcome to participate in the second portion, the second public comment, which is towards the end of the meeting, and you can email us and we will read it. Okay, so now we're moving on to our consent items, A through D. Can I get a motion to approve the recommended action items? Parth doesn't vote, right? No motion? Can Parth do a motion? He can?
You can participate in the public meeting.
No, I mean, can he do a motion to approve the consent items? Okay,
He's actually a board member.
excellent. Okay, so I'm going to go around, and Parth, would you like to make your very first motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Great. Second, Peter, any questions or comments? All those in favor? All right, passes 10-0, right?
No.
Nine?
No,
I d-
9-0.
9-0.
9-0.
So he can make a motion, but not vote.
No,
I don't think he can.
He's not a voting member.
no.
No, he's not a member of the.
Sorry, I forgot I don't have voting powers. Kind of just instinctively went up.
I tried, Parth.
That's okay.
Okay,
You
so-
can still put your hand up.
You can still put your hand up. Okay, so then we'll do Peter, second, Kim. And any questions or comments? All those in favor? Okay, 9-0. Great. We'll get better at this, Parth, don't you worry. All right, then superintendent information.
All right, well, obviously, we've opened school. We are in the midst of, actually, we've had 4 days under our belts at this point, so things seem to be pretty good. We have our traditional snafus, if you will, with some transportation. So we're working out the details on some of those things. You know, we love to have kids get where they need to be and the time they need to be there. And, you know, with the number of kids that we transport, that is always a challenge. So we're still working out some of those. But otherwise, the school works well. Parth reported on the under pouches, and we looked on our first day. It took 6 minutes to dismiss all of the under pouch attendees at the high school at that point in time. So, safety plan update. On August 12th, the Board of Education meeting, you approved your Project Safe plan, the district-wide plan that is officially on our website. There is a new addition for the cardiac emergency response for Dacia's Law. Following the recent signing of Dacia's Law, the mandate is that we include or incorporate a cardiac emergency response plan, which basically deals with an AED, how to use it, how to recognize somebody that is in cardiac arrest, and having somebody trained on the facility for a school-sponsored activity at that time. So not only do they know where it is, they're trained in how to use it, and they're able to assist in those things. So that has been included. Yes.
So is the AED locked in place, or is it able to be moved? Because these things usually happen on a sports field.
Right.
So
we have
is
portable.
it-
We have
there
portable
is a
units as
portable
well.
one,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. We
All
do.
right, thank you.
You're welcome. The cardiac response plan, located on page 44, is part of that SAFE plan. So whether it's the district-wide safety plan or the SAFE plan, that is the same document, in case you're wondering. So we have a building level, which is confidential. The reason it's confidential is it includes all of our safety protocols for everything that could possibly happen at this point in a school. You don't really want to broadcast that to the outside world as to what you're going to do for safety reasons. But we have a district plan that is a general plan. That one is a public document. So the cardiac insert outlines our protocols and our preparation for emergencies, ensuring that we meet the state requirement. So the board can review the insert plan again. We will post it on our website for the district plan, giving people an opportunity to comment. And then we will come back after 30 days at our board meeting, likely in October, with any responses and any feedback, and then we can discuss approving the district-wide plan. Any questions on that? Yes, Rebecca.
I understand why it would have to be confidential, the overall safety plan.
Yes.
But the insert says that the location of the AEDs in each building is in the confidential plan. And we would want that information to be public.
Right, so we're working on signing signage in the building, because most people aren't going to be looking at the plan when they come, but you're right. It's about advertising so people know where they are. And generally, they're located near where most of our events would happen, outside the gymnasium, near the auditoriums, things like that. So yes, we will work on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are we voting?
Next one.
Or we're moving on to curriculum?
We're moving on.
Okay.
Yep.
Rachel?
Good evening. For your consideration tonight, I have the 25-26 professional learning plan. This was presented under information in our August meeting, and it is the annual plan that we approve through this board. So I'm asking for your approval tonight.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve? Kim, second. Rebecca, any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you.
School business, Andrew?
Thank you. I have several items for your consideration tonight. The first are general fund transfers as part of closing out the 2024-2025 school year budget.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept the general fund transfer? Meredith, second. Tara, any questions or comments? Kelly, no? Okay.
Question on the second one.
On the second one, okay. All those in favor? 9-0.
Thank you. My next item is a resolution for appropriation to reserve funds for the 2024-25 school year surplus.
Can I get a motion to approve the appropriation of reserve funds? So Katie, second. Kelly, any questions or comments?
Question.
Oh.
What happens if this doesn't pass?
Then we would have to come up with another plan for surplus, appropriating the surplus from the school year. By law, we're only allowed to maintain 4% in cash, so we would have to fund reserves with it. If the board chooses not to fund reserves, I will have to research what we do with the money.
Well, that's kind of important information, I think, for us to have. You're making a recommendation that one of these things goes into a capital fund. So what are the other options available to the district for this money?
So this money, I will start by going back into the overall. So surplus funds fall into two categories: fund balance and reserves. Fund balance is unrestricted, unallocated money that districts are allowed to maintain. By law, we can carry 4% of the following year's budget in fund balance. We, as a district, have a long-standing policy of maintaining the 4%. So the surplus, a small portion of each year's surplus goes to the additional allowable 4%. And that is the difference between the 2024-25 fiscal budget and the 2025-26 fiscal budget is a little over $90,000. So part of the surplus is put into that fund balance that we can carry forward. And then for reserves, reserves are specific forms of savings for planned expenses or unanticipated expenses of specific categories, and the state defines by law the reserves we're allowed to maintain. So examples are retirement for teachers, retirement for the employee retirement system, obligations for other employee benefits or EBLAR. In this case, tax certiorari reserves and capital reserves. The tax certiorari reserve recommendation is a lesson from our previous past. So during the last round of tax certiorari cases, the district had very small surpluses and very comparatively meager reserves, and so did not have the money to fund those reserves sufficiently. And as the cases were resolved, the reserve got wiped out fairly soon. And while, if you look at our audits, we maintained surpluses in those years, functionally, we actually ran deficits because we were paying back the tax certiorari reserves after the fact. So our revenues were not what they as they existed in that year because we had to pay back a portion of the taxes we collected, and that caused significant financial challenges for the district in terms of cash flow, lowering our level of reserves, and maintaining the level of reserves is important both for financial stability, but also our credit rating. So in the past, the last time the district had a sharp downturn in its level of reserves, our bond rating was affected, so it became much more expensive to borrow. We were under the comptroller's designation, we were susceptible to fiscal stress. So the recommendation of the tax certiorari reserve is that you fund potential exposure. But to be fiscally prudent, we don't fund 100% of the potential exposure because these cases rarely resolve. So we work with our school attorney on developing a plan for that. We look at not just the current year's claims, but also outstanding ones from the previous year, because if the grievance from last year is resolved, that would affect their assessed value last year, this year, moving forward. So the more years they take to resolve, the larger the debt goes, which is why we had to bond $6 million when we paid the cross gates, because we were running short on cash and would have likely been susceptible to fiscal stress. So the other...
Sorry, I think my concern is that as a district, and again, I've only been here
Yep.
right since May on the board. As a district, we have our 4%, and this money is in addition to that 4%.
Yes.
And then we hear that we have needs. So I'm concerned that, especially if we go back to the spring and we look at what the budget was and the conversations that were had around the budget and how there was conversations in particular elementary schools and across the district about what we can staff, and then we find out that we have these additional funds that we now need to move.
Well, the 4%, we did not, the 4% was a surplus last year and this year, the fund balance. So we didn't have 4% and then 2.5%. We didn't have a 6.5% surplus, right? The 4% was carried forward. In terms of budget performance, our surplus is driven enormously by two things. One, appropriations. Contract transportation was budgeted well over $3 million, came in well under that. We highlighted that early in the year that we were going to have a surplus from contract transportation. That surplus ended up being about $2.4 million. All right, so today's resolution covers $3.2 million. We also had, our second large was on the revenue side. We had interest was much higher than anticipated, and that was because we had not increased our projected interest earnings because everyone was forecasting much larger interest rate cuts for this past year than there were. So our surpluses, if we took all those out, our surpluses were less than 1%, which is frankly in line with our historical performance and very good budgetary practice. The final comment about capital reserve versus tennis courts is capital reserves are voter approved to establish. They're time limited and they're voter approved to spend. So if we put this money, if the board adopts the recommendation to put it in the capital reserve, if we want to use that for capital expenditures, the board can't decide to spend that money. It can propose to the voters spending that money,
Right.
but the voters have the authorization.
Right.
And that's true of our school year budgets as well. All right, so if we were to say we want to take fund balance and pay for the tennis courts this year, the voters would never have authorized that.
Right.
Right, the board can authorize that, and the voters elected you. But if we put it in the budget, if we put in a capital project plan, that would go towards voter authorization. Any other?
Thank you.
So right now, it essentially comes down to you either put it in reserves or you leave it in fund balance, but you still can't spend it. If you leave it in fund balance, then what happens is you're not in compliance with the law. Really, at this point, that's kind of where we're at. You have to do one or the other.
And so if we put into reserves, then we can bring it to a vote? Is that,
So our capital reserves are, I would say the single most regulated reserve, like the most restrictive rules around it, because capital expenditures are so significant. So in 2017, the community authorized the capital reserve for up to 10 years and funding up to $10 million. This funding would come cumulative funding, and we've used that capital reserve now on 3 projects. So this amount that I recommended to the board comes close to reaching our maximum allowable capital reserve. So the next step would be to work for this coming May on what kind of reserve plan do we want to move forward with in the future for a capital reserve. And this is generally how districts use capital reserves. They use them for capital projects when they've either become funded fully, what's allowable, or exhausted. The board recommends the community creation of a new capital reserve. In this case, because we don't have a capital project going that this could be used for, the resolution would likely say, we want to authorize a 10-year capital reserve of X amount funded with X amount that's in the existing capital reserve, and then to be funded with surpluses moving forward. The ideal circumstance, and ideal circumstances don't happen because unusual expenditures take place, we would run a 1% net surplus each year. That would go into a reserve that would then be spent on a capital project. So it's not that we are taking money away or saving money to just save it. The money would be invested in future capital expenditures. Right? So for this year's May 25 capital project, because a portion of that came from capital reserves, the tax impact would be lower than it would be otherwise. So it's part of it's situating each year's budget within the long-range financial plan, and part of that long-range financial plan is reserve management. So we don't want to, the goal isn't to build reserves indefinitely, exponentially. It is to use reserves prudently, have a certain amount of reserves each year for circumstances that might arise. In the last 5 years, we've had the tax certiorari, COVID, one internal, one external. Both of those were financial shocks. And we were able to weather those in part because of our financial circumstances. Tax certiorari hit harder because we didn't have sort of the ideal level of reserves.
I remember when we were talking about budget, that you had mentioned, I don't remember how many years ago the district was in like dire financial straits. Can you maybe tell us how putting this into capital reserves will avoid that from happening, and how quickly that happened and how long it took to kind of crawl out of that?
So what happened, this was a statewide and really nationwide phenomenon coming out of the Great Recession. It was called the fiscal cliff, and it literally is if you picture Wile E. Coyote running out in the cliff and then looking down. And what happened was using one-time funding sources to fund recurring expenses. And as those recurring expenses build, when the one-time shots go away, there's a massive budget hole. And districts did this partially because they were already having to make cuts because funding was cut so much. They used one-time sources to maintain things. And there wasn't also, I think, a clear communication from the federal government and the state what the plan would be to phase those out. And so districts got left in dire straits. After that, Guilderland and other districts, and this is before me, were very careful with COVID stimulus money not to create fiscal cliffs. And I think most districts in the state succeeded in that, and they were aware of that previous experience. What happened with Guilderland is our reserves went down significantly. We ran multi-year deficits as a result of that. And then we were susceptible to fiscal risk. We also had to borrow money for cash flow reasons, which just incurred an additional expense, and then made borrowing, that's what contributed to our credit rating declining and borrowing more expensive. So both of those were direct hits to the taxpayer because we did not have that level.
Okay. I think Kelly had sorry.
My question was pretty much answered. It's just kind of disappointing to see over $3 million in funds that I understand that it was unforecasted, I guess you could say, even though it was a little bit forecasted with the transportation decrease because we had so many unfunded requests this last year. So I think moving forward, you should really be more aware, or at least for us to take a look at these projections to make sure that our requests are funded and not have a $3 million overage next year. Appreciate it.
So the $3 million surplus is an anomaly, and we identified this. I mean, Marie spoke about this in April, I believe, when she was presenting her budget, and talked about the danger of using this one time, because this money wouldn't be recurring, right? So if we use this $3 million, if we used $1 million of this to fund salary for positions that were cut, we wouldn't have that $1 million this year.
Yeah, no, I'm not concerned about so much of where it goes right now, of just kind of not having it happen again next year when we
Right.
need TAs or whatever next
don't-
years thing is. So it's a little
TAs.
disappointing.
Kelly.
It is what it is. Here we are.
I
I
think,
don't disagree with where to put it. That's it.
yeah, I think that, like you were saying, the problem with that, because I'm all for like more TAs, would be it's kind of like the, during COVID, the COVID funds, it's kind of a use it and you're not gonna have it forever, so even if we had all those TAs, the money's gonna run out, so
Right.
then it's gonna get to the point where we're gonna have cuts again anyways.
Right. And that's why this information is
Absolutely.
important to have out, aside from budget talks, that
Absolutely.
we have this availability.
And we talk about, Mr. So the next, today we officially launched 2026-27 budget development in the district. All of the administrators, we had a meeting, they have their stage one forms went out. So we've already, now that we've hit week one, we've started next year's budget. But part of that will be, and this will come to a future board meeting this fall, our rollover budget, where we look at rolling over expenses, where we're at. But I will say, at this point last year, we'd identified, not necessarily the scale, but we had signaled, and we knew that there was going to be a large surplus from contract transportation. And that was because the board and the budget for 2024-25 authorized software purchases for the transportation district, transportation department under Craig Lips. We bought the TransFinder, Stop Finder app, and redid all of our district routes. So we're able to make our internal routing more efficiently. That contributed to the large decrease. And this year, we don't have any contract transportation. Our budget was fairly small this year. There will still be likely field trips and other things covered out of the contract transportation. But for student transportation, we're not contracting this year. So there will be a small surplus, but we had to carry that because we didn't know until literally the week before school started where our staffing was at. And frankly, staffing and transportation is very variable, that we would want to carry the money to accommodate a contract were it to be necessary.
I think Rebecca's been waiting.
I mean, I kind of just share what everyone was just talking about, but is there any, so the proposed breakdown that you have on the agenda, are there any other options that give the
Absolutely.
funds more elasticity? Or
So
like how did you come up with that breakdown?
So I came up, that's a really great question. So it started with the tax certiorari calculation. And so I took, and I worked with the town to confirm all of our current cases that we have this year. So we meet with, we share with the town how we were served. They share what we were served. Make sure that we both have copies of everything as we should. And then the town assessor provides me outstanding grievances to confirm my list. So, I shared with her our list. She went through and gave me status updates. So from all of those, I calculated what would the exposure be based on each year's tax rate, interest, because you pay interest as you carry forward, and then targeted, well, we would want to cover between 2/3 and 75% of that is our goal, because that's reasonable, likely less than that, but it's in the range where that I think covers us sufficiently, and we wouldn't risk what happened before. We already had money in the reserve from last year, so this is an additional to that. This is the amount additional that would bring us to our recommended exposure threshold, and then from there, I recommended putting the rest in capital reserve because the board had, as part of the future Ready Task Force, identified wanted capital improvements as more regular, more part of our long-range plan. So capital reserve is very helpful for that. There are less restrictive. We could put them in other reserves where we would have more mobility, and I can share those if you want an alternate plan for the future.
Yeah, sorry, I think, just to add to that, so for the less restrictive funds, right, would that also have to be voted on, or no?
There are every reserve has its own rules. Capital reserve is the one, because The capital commitment is a more significant commitment for the community, right? You have to maintain the facilities we build or invest in. So the voters should authorize capital improvements. So they would have to vote to use the monies.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, that's the first part. The second thing is, I just want to mention something that you had talked about last spring, which is the factors of the unknown that we also have to be mindful of, and that's the enrollment concerns and the medical concerns that we're looking at. And I feel that, you know, the fact that this surplus is due to one-time situational fortunate outcomes, you know, I think that we need to be cognizant that that is something that we can't use without the repercussions of having to follow through with that in subsequent years. Also considering those I mentioned that are the areas that we don't have control over, such as the medical costs, of having to be aware of having that kind of cushion for the fund balance and reserves might be something that comes to be useful for the future.
So that's a very good point, and I would add to the list of concerns that are keeping us up at night. The comptroller's recent report on the state budget identified the state's shortfall in the out years at a scale not seen since the Great Recession, which is very troubling because the state can't fundamentally save money without affecting healthcare or education. So I would be concerned about the stability of long-term education funding in the state. And we saw during the Great Recession, districts that did the best were ones that had very healthy reserves leading into it. Meredith.
Okay, Meredith.
The last thing I did want to point out, because I know I at least am thinking about the TAs and how much it sucked, that we took advantage knowing that this was going to be a multi-year drop-off. We took advantage of a large field of retirees to not replace those positions. It wasn't that we got, it was to avoid having to cut those positions in the future. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's something that we all have to think about and keep in our heads, because it really was a difficult choice that we all made, right? And looking at these numbers, it's a gut punch, but knowing that they're one-time funds means that it was still the right decision.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because, folks catching some of this at home may be like, they cut those 8 TAs and now they have all this money.
But we just didn't replace them.
Exactly, but that's not what happened. And if we were to fill those 8 positions, this money would dry out.
Well, we restored 75% of the first grade TAs.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we shared the allocations, and the elementary principals allocated them between classrooms as based on need.
So I just want to be clear, circling way back to when you first started, if we vote to appropriate these to the reserve funds in May, because we're getting to that mark, we can discuss how we use them. Gotcha. But it still goes to vote.
Separate from this, it is time to start talking about authorizing a new capital reserve, just because this one's close to its time being exhausted. We won't have a capital project vote likely under this one's lifespan, so it's time to consider authorizing it. With this appropriation reaching near the maximum amount of allowable funding, I would recommend doing it in May. But so they're sort of separate, but yes.
Okay, so we can talk about,
So
What's the max?
we have it sooner? I think
This
it's
one was
10.
authorized for $10 million.
So what I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. What you're saying is this capital fund that's currently was voted on
May
almost
2017.
10 years ago. It has a 10-year lifespan, and in order to keep that money in capital funds, you need to
Spend it.
create a new fund to roll it over so that you have it for another 10 years. Is that what you're?
Yeah, so you're not allowed to maintain capital. Again, it's the protection, I think, for the taxpayer that the state has.
Right.
This is by far the most regulated reserve. So they have a up to 10-year lifespan. I think they're almost always funded at 10 years. And then we establish the amount of allowable funding. And that is, it can grow larger than that because it can accrue interest and that interest can be used, but we can fund it with up to $10 million, and this would put us right near that figure.
Thank you.
How soon can we start talking about that? Did you say we have to wait till May, or can we start?
No,
soon?
I think if you would like some suggestions for ways of thinking about reserves, I would be happy to present them. I would say not at the next meeting, but this fall,
Okay,
Dan
how
can
about
tell
2
you, I've
meetings
been
from
thinking
now?
about reserves since he walked in the door, before he walked in the door.
Okay, is everyone interested in that? I think we should start the process early here. Okay,
Yeah, so it's ready for a vote in May?
great. Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
so, I'm sorry, is this, let me get back to my job here. Is this a roll call? I feel like it's a roll call, no? Okay.
Just a vote.
All right, so motion to approve the appropriation to the reserve funds. Where was I?
You already had that, no, this was the discussion. So now you
I had the
vote.
motion.
Just
Okay,
a
now
vote.
is the vote. All those in favor? 9-0. Okay, great.
Thank you. Let me find my
C,
place
architectural
for one
services.
second. All right, yes. My next item is our architectural service agreement with CS Arch for the 2025 project. The terms are very similar to our previous contract with them. We are very happy with the services they provided for a number of projects in a row.
Great. Can I get a motion to approve the service agreement? Does anybody know where I was?
Doesn't matter.
All right, Peter. Second, Kim. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Thank you. My next item are 5 service agreements with providers to provide support services to our students.
Okay, a motion to approve the service agreements. Rebecca, second, Meredith. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
My next item are 2 shared services agreements with school districts. One with Dwaynesburg for a special the student with disabilities for a program in our district, and one with Amsterdam for transportation services.
Okay, motion to approve the shared service agreement. Tara, second, Katie. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0.
Thank you. My final item are donations. There are 4 ellipticals donated by Vent Fitness to our middle school gym. 8 backpacks of school supplies donated by Next Step Federal Credit Union, and then a number of science supplies donated by Bethlehem Central School District.
Nice, and thank you. Motion to accept the donations. Kelly, second, Nina. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0. Superintendent action items.
All right, the first one is the annex for the Emergency Response Plan 2526, authorizing the cardiac emergency response to be included in each of our building plans.
Motion to accept. Peter, second, Kim. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passes 9-0.
Next item is a resolution settlement agreement, authorizing me to enter into stipulation settlement on behalf of claims involving student number 75906 and the terms and conditions reviewed prior in our executive session.
Perfect. Motion to accept. Okay, where was I? Rebecca, second, Meredith. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? 9-0.
Next one, resolution to authorize settlement offer in accordance with 34 CFR Section 300-513 in Rule 68 of the Federal Regulations in the Civil Procedure. The board authorizes the attorneys to make a written offer of settlement in the matter of student number 79489.
Could you say that one more time? I'm just kidding. Motion to approve.
Wait, hold on, one sec.
Oh,
one
there's
sec.
more?
Sorry. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Be it resolved that said written offer of settlement shall incorporate terms as outlined by Shaw, Perelson, May, and Lambert LLP in a memo to the board dated September 2nd, 2025,
Oof.
and
Okay.
updated September 9th, 2025.
Okay. Motion, Tara, second, Katie. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0.
The next item is a grant application request for approval that the board authorizes the Ms. Cottage Perrott, a special a speech language pathologist at the high school here to apply for a grant through the Lacey Foundation. And the Lacey Foundation recognizes progress and success in charitable and educational organizations, capitalizing on the bond of human to animal connections. The grant request will be for $4,000. Which will be submitted by Ms. Cottage-Parat. The application is due on October 15th, and it will support the dog programs that we have in all of our schools.
Great. Motion to accept the grant application approval?
You're
request?
over there.
I'm over there. Thank you. Kelly, second Nina. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0.
The next item, certifications of qualified lead evaluator for building principals and APPR. Certified that the superintendent is hereby certified as a qualified lead evaluator of building principals, having successfully completed the training requirements.
Okay, motion to accept that Daniel will evaluate our teacher or our principals. Where am I again? I went all the way around. Peter, second Kim. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0.
And the next item is certification of qualified lead evaluators for teachers. Resolved that Mike Piscatelli, Mike Laster, Stephen Wolf, Alan Lockwood, Jackie Dignam, Katie Stalker, Beth Beanie, and Lisa Knowles are certified as qualified lead evaluators of teachers, having successfully completed the training requirements.
Okay, motion to approve the qualified lead evaluators for teachers. Rebecca, second Meredith. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? 9-0. Okay, and the reason I go in order is because I raised my hand for like 3.5 years and hardly ever got called on. So I'm trying to.
Share the wealth.
Fair. Okay. So next we have board committee reports. Have any committees met yet? Okay, coming soon. Okay. Public comment number 2. Nothing?
Sorry, do you want to let the public know when those committee meetings, does
Are
everybody
gonna
have
be?
a meeting date
Sure.
set?
We have, yes, do you have them all memorized?
Well,
I'm just kidding. Audit,
Audit is next Wednesday.
Right.
At
Awesome.
8 o'clock in the morning.
so that would be the 17th.
At the middle school.
Yep.
Isn't
And-
DEI also the 17th, I think?
The 17th and like 7, yeah.
Okay. How about business practices?
We haven't scheduled.
Yes, okay. Communications?
I believe we are the 7th of October. We will start talking about budget, apparently. We are in the budget season.
Excellent. And DEI, like you said, Tara, and Nina is the same day as audit?
I'm pretty sure I'm verifying
Oh, it's
that.
September 24th?
September 24th.
Okay.
Maybe not, yes.
September 24th?
Yeah, that's right.
And policy
It's the
is
22nd.
soon. Okay, the 22nd. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Now, any second public comments? Nope. I don't think, let me just check my email real quick. Nope. It's time for the Wild West. Any board issues, ideas, and sharing?
Can I talk about now? Okay. So last year I had mentioned about if we could try to form like a community school. So what a community school is, it just helps like parents and families that are struggling that need food. A lot of like what we already kind of do with the backpack and everything, but the community school would make it more cohesive. And so what I really would like to do is for us to actually formally form a community school. I don't really know how to go about doing that. I've met some board members in August that they have them in their schools, but they have been around for so long, like they don't even know how it began. Like one woman was saying how they even have like washing machines and dryers for families to come in and use these facilities. Because like, you know, if your clothes are dirty and you smell, you don't want to come to school. And all the hygiene stuff in the world isn't going to get rid of that, you know, those dirty pants. So I was just wondering if, I did send out something that I received at the school board association meeting. And I would like to move forward with how do we become one and what can we do? I know Amanda and Shannon would be great resource because they've been doing the caring closet. And I know there's social workers that do the food and everything. So I'm just I don't know, I'm just wondering, like, any feedback, like, what do you feel about it? Do you want to?
So do you want to include it as, for consideration, like as a board goal? Because that's,
Yeah,
we're going to start
sure.
working on our board goals right?
Yeah.
So,
And
okay.
in the meantime, can I look into how do we become?
Yeah, I would need to learn more about it,
Okay.
but that'll make it like, a topic that we all research and
Okay.
move forward with.
Okay,
Parth,
great.
did you have
Oh,
something you
sorry.
wanted to add?
Yeah. So from my understanding, just to like clarify, a community school would basically be providing basic amenities to families who need it. For example, like you said, washer, dryer. Would that include shower, stuff like that?
Yep, and also there are some schools that even like if your child needs a dentist, but they don't have dental insurance, they provide that
Yep,
for the
they bring a
family. They
dentist in.
find medical people to
Visiting
help
dentists.
the family.
Pediatricians
Yeah, like
in.
visiting dentists or getting your vaccinations, flu shots and things like that. They're really there to support, the community, for anybody that needs that
I
help.
feel like there used to be federal funding for that. I don't know if there is now. Anyways, that's something we might want to talk about. Or
Well, there was state funding.
with state
There's
funding.
state funding now, but,
The
I don't know.
state funding is actually funding you're already getting.
Oh.
So what they do is it's generally your foundation aid. They put
Uh-huh.
a set aside, so then it takes
then-
money you're already getting and says you have to use it for this.
Oh, okay,
That,
okay.
just to clarify that.
Okay,
That-
okay,
that-
thank
That's
you.
what exists right now.
Yeah,
Our district never had the set aside, but those districts had a requirement to spend the money on those things.
okay.
I think Schenectady possibly is doing community schools already, I think.
Yep, Albany City,
Yep. So,
and Scotia Glenville too.
right.
I think like some rural schools. Yeah. also.
Rural and urban tends to be where
Yeah.
they lie mostly, but not all the time.
Yeah, and and we do have, we have families in need here, so,
The Water-Valide School District and I think some of the Albany City districts recently partnered with Urgent Cares so that kids could do telehealth through the school nurse. And so don't have to leave school and the parents don't have to leave work.
see, and like, how do you start, I
I think
just would love to know, like, how
That
do we
is
get?
actually a reasonable, but like it's something that I think could be easily accomplished.
Yeah,
Rochester City has done telehealth through their school health, like through their school nurse systems for like 20 years.
oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
So definitely the infrastructure exists.
Is there,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
We actually had, Tara, I think before you were on the board, we have a local pediatrician that reached out to us and was interested in assisting with a mental health telehealth.
Okay, yeah.
It seems like that might fit into this
Easily.
board goal.
Oh,
At least
absolutely,
for discussion.
yeah.
Well, so that seems like a good segue into board goals, right?
Sorry.
So we need to set, no, that's great. We need to set our official board goals. Dan, is there a process you would like us to follow? Or I think what we've done in the past is we send out the previous board goals via email. And folks have the opportunity to look at them, add to them, put new ideas on the table, and then we add it as an official agenda item and discuss publicly. Or we can have a separate meeting just devoted to the board goals.
I think a lot of the times too, when setting board goals, you also look at the strategic plan of the district as a whole to
Yep,
make
and how
sure
it
that
fits
you
in.
encompass everything. So I think that we need to take a look at a bunch of different things before deciding.
Yes. Do we want to do a special meeting for that, or do we just ongoing? Any ideas? I feel like we had a special board
We had a
meeting.
special meeting.
Special meeting.
Yeah, that
Sounds
makes
like a
sense. to have a
7 years
special
ago, but it was during COVID and it was online, the talking heads, which worked out really great. And I know we can't do that. So it was a special
Yeah.
meeting that Dr. Rivera
I think we
led-
could fill a whole meeting with it.
I think we
honestly,
could.
but-
As a part of that, we did. I'm trying to think. I think starting out ideas to build upon is a great idea. Like maybe today or the next week, and then come to a. I don't know if you want to do a special board meeting or not, but it does took some time. We all talked, and then we created those goals, but not race goals, but reachable goals or what. I forgot the.
Measurable.
I forget the
Smart goals.
Smart goals.
Smart
Yes.
goals, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Realistic,
right.
smart.
Yes, yeah.
Measurable.
On a Google form that we all were on while we were on the Talking Heads thing, and then SEMA kind of put it all together and everybody approved it eventually. But it involved the board and superintendent at
I
the
think
did.
it
same
was in
time.
January of 2025 and
We-
2020.
we had one
and then-
meeting. It was-
and then again it was July 2020 when it was followed up.
I feel like we should
did-
start
we
it
did
sooner.
too, You're right. I
Yeah.
think it was something like that.
I think a special meeting is probably.
So why don't we start with distributing the old ones, the old goals?
Yes.
Okay, and the Google form and whatnot, and then Michelle, maybe you can help us pick a special meeting date. Kim, I'm sorry.
And we don't necessarily have a strategic plan. That's that's kind of the problem. We don't have a strategic
Yeah, we need
plan in place. What we have are board goals, which is
Right.
kind of our
mission
strategic plan.
statement.
And so
I think maybe that might be one of our board goals, is to create a strategic
Strategic
plan.
plan.
That kinda
for the
is our
district,
strategic plan.
Which most districts have.
Yeah.
Right. So my question to you is, we have another board meeting scheduled for September 30th. So if you look at goals and what you think we should be doing with some ideas, and then maybe you come back at that September 30th with some potential ideas with a document of things to put out there, and then schedule a meeting at that
To
meeting
decide.
That's
to
a good
just
idea.
talk about your goals and make it just a goal meeting at that point, and then
Great. Great. Cool.
it gives you time to review the documents that we have, gives you time to review the previous goals and think about where you think we should be going. We have a couple of weeks of the school year up and running, so, it'll give you a better perspective of what you might want to think about.
time to get some historical perspective too of like things
Yeah.
that
Yes.
didn't work in the past or
Some of the goals
we
we actually reached some of our goals.
yeah, we did.
too.
Yeah, no, it's a good time to review. We're at the end of that period, but like, I think.
Be very proud of us right now.
But if there are things that are burning inside of you that you want information about,
Right.
maybe do that in advance with the team,
Right.
so they can have answers or redirect in a different direction on that 30th meeting of like try a different path. I guess you could say if they have a particular burning goal.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Excellent. Wild West continues. Peter and then Parth.
Okay. Kind of two things that maybe at our next meeting we can get some follow-up on. One, any further information we have about the bio and the earth science and space exams that were taken, and anybody who
right,
might have
yeah.
retaken those exams, and maybe if we know how those students perform, because I'm hearing early returns are that students who retook, maybe not only in our district but across the board, are performing much better. And so wondering what the district will do or could do, because according to what I heard, I think it was at our June meeting, the district opted in a year before it was required. So just,
So to clarify, are you looking for the student performance in June versus August? Is that what you're?
I'm looking for any data that we might have by the end of the month that would give us an indication of, did students perform, and it can be district-wide and statewide in relation to those two exams, because from everything that I've seen from the state and what we heard in June, specifically the bio exam was significantly, I don't want to say harder, but it was more troublesome for the students. Students that were very successful in class were not as successful on those exams. So that's one. And then my second item is, during the Meet the Candidates in the spring, we were asked specifically about special ed, and I can't remember what the exact question was, but we were asked about special ed. So I think if we could get some, what prompted that question, what more were they looking for from the candidates at that time in regards to special ed from the board, I think would be helpful.
Okay.
Okay. Parth.
Okay, I had a couple things to bring up, if that's okay, if we have time. So one of the things involves the art students here at Gilliland High School, specifically AP Art, AP Art, Advanced Art 1, and Advanced Art 2, and Drawing and Painting. So with the Yonder Pouches, it's been getting really, really hard for them, because the way that these students kind of go through their classes is they take pictures of their art all throughout the process. So I went and spoke with Ms. Gockley yesterday on this issue. She said the Yonder Pouches have definitely been more of a hindrance. She also said she spoke to Mr. Piscatelli, who did everything he could to help them. He came down right away, helped them with whatever they needed. But I thought I'd bring it up here since I'm student representative, and one of my multiple students came up to me asking for help. So I know Ms. Gockley explained to me that for AP Art, you have to take pictures of the art that you do in the class and send them to the college board for assessment. So, for example, all the ideas that you jot down on a piece of paper, take a picture of that. You take a picture of the pencil sketch. You take a picture of what you do the next day, next day. You take pictures of that whole process until your final product has come out. And before this, students used to just take their phones and take a really nice high-resolution picture. Samsungs are better, by the way, personal opinion. But anyway, so they used to take these really high quality, high resolution pictures with their phones and upload those, and they're very, very accurate. And so they can send those to the College Board and they get their scores back that way. But now that we have the Yonder pouches, there's no way for them to do that. And so they're either resorting to really, really old digital cameras that they're bringing in, which definitely aren't capturing the great quality, or they have to use their Chromebooks. And Ms. Gockley herself also said those Chromebook cameras are really, really bad. They're completely dark, the contrast isn't good, the exposure isn't good. There's no way those Chromebooks are gonna get them by. So especially when it comes to all these advanced classes like AP, where they're competing with national students to get 1 through 5 to save thousands and thousands of dollars on college, there needs to be an exception made for these students. I feel like the best way to do this is to put a portable station with Ms. Gockley inside her room that only she has access to, and maybe even only give her access during that block. And so at the end of the block, she's allowed to use that and have the students unlock their phones. She can do 3, 4, 5 at a time even, watch them only open their camera roll and take the picture and then put it back into their pouch. So make it a very high security unlock thing that they do, but also giving them that exception that they need to take pictures of this art. Because especially with Guilderland as well, since we're on the East Coast, we have a disadvantage with AP exams. The West Coast students start earlier, but no matter what, all AP exams are in May. So they have, for other classes, other AP classes, you can cram study in a week, which I don't recommend, but you can do it. And for some students, it works out. But you can't really cram art into one night, 1 week, 1 month. And these students are doing that, and they're doing exceptionally well at it. So I feel like we shouldn't callous them more than they have to be and give them this really, really small exception for these phones.
So I'll piggyback on that. I actually did hear from a parent, so you stole my thunder, but that's great. A parent of one of the students that's going through that, and at first they tried to use the camera that was on the Chromebook, but it's bad, and so unfortunately this parent felt like it was going to be detrimental to their student to submit it because it would look like it was a problem with the art as opposed to with the camera. Now, my question to the folks who were on policy last year: does Governor Hochul's policy even allow us to make this kind of adjustment? Is there that flexibility? Mike, do you know? Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
kinda gray.
can we ask the policy committee to look at this and
was the
consider
answer?
this and see if it's possible?
I thought the policy did allow for academic.
Does.
Does it?
I thought so
Okay.
too, and I wasn't on policy committee last year.
No,
Okay.
and I know someone who was heavily involved with the state policy, and we've had many
think-
conversations where.
So are we all
there is
comfortable
some leeway.
looking into this, or?
I think we just have to work out the
Yeah.
solution internally about
Yeah.
how to make that work under a certain guise, and we'll work with Mr. Piscatelli and the art teacher to figure out a solution that'll work.
Yeah.
Has
Okay.
anyone reached out to other districts and see what they do? Like, does Bethlehem have AP art? Like, how do?
I imagine they do, but.
So how do they take pictures? You know, I don't know.
Hey.
Oh, there he is.
I was
Sorry,
hoping you'd
Mike.
volunteer to come up instead of
While
being
he comes
asked.
up to the mic too, I'd also just like to mention that there are potential other, not for this year, let me be clear on that first, but there is a school district in Massachusetts who's piloting what's known as Doorman.
Oh, yeah, you
And it's
showed
an
us that.
app on their phone, and this is out in the public. You can go to their website. It's I'll find the name of the district and let you all know. But there's a public school district in Massachusetts that's piloting Doorman this year. Now they're using it to sign in and out in particular classrooms, and that would not work under what, at least everything I know, signing in and out just for your class period does not meet the bell-to-bell requirements that we have in our state. But the idea that Watertown High School, Massachusetts, thank you, is the school. But if we look at it, it could potentially be a very similar thing. But what it does, just so everybody's aware, is it bricks the phone so that the only thing the phone can do is be available for emergency calls. So it's another option out there, and I know what safety says, that being on the phone and having access to the phone is not what's ideal. I get that. I'm just saying that this is another thing that's being piloted this year that we should continue to look at and monitor as something that could be
It
an
also
option.
wouldn't fix this issue.
Yeah.
What's that?
Go ahead, Mike.
Fix
I'm sorry.
this particular issue.
Well, it
Yeah.
potentially could, because in
It
that
could.
particular room, the same thing, just like the magnet to unlock it, she would have, it's CISO, sign in, sign out, which is an NFC tag, which is like a QR thing. It's an NFC tag, and you just tap your phone to it in the class, and it would unlock it in this particular fashion, and then lock it right back up again. So there is this wiggle room.
Yeah, I think we
Sorry.
should look into it further.
problem.
Absolutely.
Listen, I just want to say we're in a period of transition right now. As the phones are not accessible, things are going to start coming up that people are going to say, well, we've gotten used to it. I think the one thing we have to be cautious is not have a knee-jerk reaction to every request that comes in and says, I need to use the phone, because once we start opening up that can of worms, it's very hard to put the genie back in the bottle. One of the things we're doing, like with this situation and some other situations in art, is Bob Winans is having a conversation with each of his art teachers to find out specifically what applications they are using that they are finding problematic without phones. We are also in consultation with Dave Howell to find out if there's alternatives that we can use that we can access through the Chromebooks. The art, the photos that we were talking to, one of the things we were talking about with Ms. Gockley was buying digital cameras that could be fixed and could be taking photos of that. So we may, who knows, we may go down that road of they get a portable unlocking mechanism and they use them just for that class. I think that is an option. I just want to say before we go down that road, let's make sure that we've fully discussed the situation before we do make a plan.
Right. But in the meantime, you have students that are in an AP class that need to have, according to what we're hearing tonight.
Peter, it's not that immediate that we have to have it this second.
Okay, but you have to understand that this was the information that was brought
Yeah,
forward to
I'm
us,
just saying. I
right?
talked to the teacher this morning. I was in her classroom this morning. So we're working on it. But it's not something that's imminent that we got to get solved today. So.
Right. And yeah, you definitely talked to Miss Gockley more than I did. I only got to see her yesterday.
Yeah.
And she told me that like you had come down like as fast as you could.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just brought to my attention, so I thought I'd bring it up here as well.
Yeah, no,
Kinda.
I think it's good. It's like I said, it's a good example of things that are going to pop up. So.
Great. Thank you, Parth. Was
I
there
just have
anything
one
else?
question while you're up there?
Sure.
On the topic, first of all, as you probably know, I'm full on board for this policy shift. However, I did hear that at least the few days, and I know as I spoke on, there's that 2+ weeks of transition anyway. That being said, I just wanted to ask you what your thoughts are on the end of the day. I'm hearing that there's some challenges, which, like I said, is expected. But in your opinion, do you see it going in the right direction? And do you think we have the number of,
Unlocking.
stations that are necessary at this
Yeah,
point?
I think it 100% is going. Remember, we've only done this 4 times. And the first day, as Dan was saying, we were probably around that 6-minute mark around there. Like, we have been averaging probably when kids, remember, the kids get out at 2:28. Pretty much most of the students were unlocked today by 2:32.
I guess for me, it's not just the time.
Yeah.
It's what's happening in the time.
I haven't seen, again, I think one of the things you got to understand, this is the adjustment piece.
Yeah.
Like I'm always in the main lobby where most of the students are congregating. The students are starting to figure out, like they tend to go to the first thing they see and they fail to realize there's 4 other unlocking stations right behind them. So we're guiding students to, you don't need to stop at this one, there's more right there. I think as kids get more familiar with the process, it's gonna go faster and faster, so.
And to piggyback off Mr. Piscatelli as well, he's definitely right that we do have enough unlocking stations, in my opinion, and it's definitely getting faster as the days progress. Like, I remember the first day, the language wing was completely backed up. There was no way you were going to unlock your phone in 5 minutes. But then today, for example, I was able to unlock it in a minute or 2. And he's right, like, people don't see, like, they go to the first thing they see. I was kind of guilty of that this morning. Ryan showed me that there's another one open somewhere. But yeah, definitely, we've only been doing this 4 days, but Mr. Piscatelli is absolutely right. We are definitely getting used to it very fast.
Thank you, Parth. Did you?
The only thing about the digital cameras I wanted to add as well is that how much do you think would the digital cameras cost in order to? And then also,
An issue.
I remember that when I was in photography club in sophomore year, we would like get the cameras after school, the really nice ones, and go take pictures of like whatever we wanted to. And I remember I had to make sure I was back in the room early enough to take out the SIM card from the camera, plug it into the adapter, plug the adapter into the Chromebook, make sure it transfers, and then reverse the process and put the SIM card back into the camera. So that's the only problem I can see arising with that, especially since they have. I asked my friend about this too. I was like, couldn't you guys realistically do that as well? And he was like, we could. The only problem is when you have a room of 20-ish students who all need to do that, plus like they only have 84 minutes every other day to make these like pieces of art. So they're trying to utilize every second that they possibly can. So that's the only obstacle I could see coming up with that.
Thank you, Bert.
Thanks, Bob.
Did you want to bring up anything else yet, or no?
Two or three more things, if that's okay. Okay, so
I
one
came
thing
prepared.
is, yeah, I've been thinking a lot over the summer. So I know since now that we don't have phones, is it possible to unblock YouTube on the Chromebooks again?
Oh, were you going to talk? Yeah. What are the issues? Okay.
It is not because there are state laws regarding student privacy and security that we have to abide by, and YouTube is not one of the apps that will sign that for us.
Gotcha.
Oh, they have to agree to the
Privacy,
terms.
Yes, the New York
Okay.
State law, and they're not willing to do that, so.
Gotcha. Not even like a channel or two, right? Like we could tell them these are channels that you could watch.
Nope.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. We'll make it. And then also another thing that, so I know that you guys all understand this, but just for people who are watching, so on the reason why there are two positions, why there's Ryan and there's me, is because there's one position with two members that are elected through by the student body. That's the student government representative. And then there's one ex officio student member who the Board of Education appoints. And so right now those positions are two separate positions. You have one member, two student representatives. And as of right now, because it ended up working out that I was holding both offices, but in future years, that might not always be the case. They're going to be two completely separate groups of people. One of them is not going to go, like the ex officio member won't be going to those full student government meetings at all. And those two student government representatives aren't going to be going to the full Board of Education meetings and have the rights that I do right now, being able to speak right here. So I was wondering if it's possible for starting this year even or next year to combine those positions. Meaning now we get two ex officio members. One is appointed by the board, so you guys get your rights on saying, this is who I think should be the best student. And the students remain their right in the sense that the other student who's appointed gets elected by the student body. And so both parties remain and get to keep their voting rights. And on top of that, you guys would also have full rights to impeach both members no matter what. So just saying, if the student government representative isn't showing up to board meetings or student government meetings, you guys all have the right to impeach them. Vice versa, if the student government advisors see that the ex officio member who was appointed by you guys isn't going to those student government meetings and fulfilling their roles, they have the right to impeach them too. So that way, both of you guys have equal power. The voting rights get maintained, and we have two members who are collaborating with each other to help the students.
That's very interesting. Can we ask policy to look into if that's allowable?
I
how that
would
would
be
work?
curious to what NISBA says about it.
Yeah. So can we charge the policy committee? Is that you, Katie? Who's policy? Rebecca? Okay. Is it you?
It is
Well,
a
there's
policy
four,
item
yeah,
because at this point, your policy is established, but you can have more than one ex officio member.
I like
But
the
if you
idea
wanted
of
to
having
address it, it would be a policy
the students.
change
So-
would have to happen to address that.
So thank you for bringing that to our attention. I think we can discuss it more in the policy committee. Cool.
And last thing, promise. We can't take, I asked Mr. Piscatelli about this. He said it's not very likely, but you can ask about it anyway. Is there a way we can accept credit cards at the school store? It would make it a lot easier for
Apple
students. And Apple
Why
Pay.
can't we? Is there a reason we haven't done it?
Can't use Apple Pay when you
Apple
don't have
Pay,
a phone.
credit cards?
Oh, yeah. I was saying that you and I
Oh.
discussed it a little bit this morning during passing times.
Credit
Oh,
cards.
yeah, if we can accept credit cards at the school store.
Okay.
We have looked into it. It is really complicated. and I don't have all the information with me right now. We have been trying to transition to ways with the gift card kind of program to allow them to be funded and used that way. But as of now, we can't take credit cards.
All right, that makes sense. Thank you.
Can you look into it though and give us some more information? Next
I
time?
can share more information.
Thank you.
Do credit cards cost would that usually if you have to pay, use
A
companies that
fee.
use
There's a
credit cards,
fee.
there's a
It's
fee.
anywhere from 2.5 to like 7%.
Yeah. So it might cost the district money for people to use credit cards.
So
You would have to increase the cost of the items.
Yeah.
Would that cost also be applied to cash like things? Because I know some students would probably prefer, I'd rather just tap my card and like go instead of having to take out the cash and count it. Whereas some students like me would
It depends
prefer
on the
cash.
contract with whoever you are contracting with to provide the service of the card. They will determine whether or not it's okay for you to charge a different amount for the items.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but you'll still get back to us, Andrew?
I will share. I will definitely share more information with you.
Thank
It's
you.
there's a long history of looking into this.
Okay.
And we have tried to find ways, so it's not something we've avoided.
Okay. I know I would appreciate it. I have one child who throws away change, coins. I can't. Anyways, are we still Wild Westing?
Are you all set? I don't
All
wanna
set.
cut- Okay.
Thank you, Parth, for thinking about that ahead of time and presenting it. That's
I
great.
just wanted to follow up on Peter to help Rachel. The questions for Meet the Candidate are created by the PTA Council. So for some context, there was questions related to parental input and parental involvement and feedback related to the special education process. I know that falls under different departments too, but that's kind of where that came from, just as follow-up for you.
And was that in general, or was it specific
It
to
was
the
related to
CSP
some of the
programs?
parental,
that
feedback
were
that
shared.
that were brought to the board. Just like some parental input on programming.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're
I
welcome.
know the council also tries to cover like a variety of different
Big topics.
topics as
Yeah.
well, but yeah.
Just, we were asked to meet the candidates.
sure.
It's
Yeah, I was
good to
just giving
follow
her
up,
some
so I
context
just,
for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was bummed I missed that. I think there were like 3 school activities the same
There
night.
was a lot that night.
Does anyone else have anything for the Wild Wild West? Because I have 2 things,
do.
but I'll be so fast. Okay, Meredith. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It's really
I'm
simple.
just kidding. Go ahead.
It's really simple. On the first day of school, my child missed the bus because the bus came very early. And if I had known to go like 10 to 15 minutes early, she would not have missed the bus. But I didn't know that. So I think I have a kindergartner. She's my first. So with the next one, I'll know. First day, go 10 minutes early. But she was devastated that she didn't get to ride the bus her first day. So just putting a note for kindergarten parents, 10 minutes early.
Did you get the app?
Yeah.
Do you have the app?
My husband has the app and it did not say, it didn't update.
You can put like
So
notifications on there when they're like
You have to put the
block away.
geofence.
certain far
yeah.
away.
Open your geofence to make it take a greater area.
Yep,
so-
it didn't update.
Yeah,
So,
it was a little slow on the first day.
yeah.
And sorry, I would
no.
just add to that at least for my kids, the bus is, I think somewhere it says middle school, high school is the information we got. Be out 5 minutes early, but I think the bus is, again, they're early, which is not necessarily a bad thing,
Yeah.
but if we're planning on times that have been presented, anyway, I think this morning maybe middle school was 10 minutes early, or yes, the other
Are
day.
you
So
given I could have sworn we were given a window. No, we're given.
We
a
were
window.
not.
That 9 to
Ours
9:30?
said 7:14. We were out there by 7:12 and it was already gone.
Our middle school
Given
bus is
a
15 minutes
time
early.
And told, everything that came to us said 5 minutes early.
Okay.
Which, I'll be honest, I was just happy you guys took them.
My kids were out there 40 minutes early, just saying.
Yeah, like my kids went out early and I was like, I went to work and it was glorious.
Yes. But then they missed the bus the next 3 days because, yes, our middle school bus is coming 15 minutes early. So they will be out the door. I've adjusted my internal Alexa or whatever the heck goes off to say get the heck out the door accordingly. But, yeah. Challenge.
Clear communication, I think, is the
Yeah.
biggest piece, I think, for us. It's
Just
not-
especially for first day, like, hey, be early.
we do
Woulda-
use-
woulda
we do
fixed the
use
problem.
app and the geofence and all that.
Yeah.
So
That's
quick.
helpful. I just want to say, I know I'm repeating things that I haven't mentioned, but as a parent as well with the tennis courts, it is a severe need. It's a safety issue, in my opinion, as well. That's my thoughts on that. And I just think that we need to be thinking of our kids and other kids on there when they're playing. And I don't know what the answer is of how to get it done, but it definitely is a priority.
Was it presented during the capital project facilities planning group at all?
I don't remember it being, so that's what I was
I
going to
wasn't
bring
on
to the
that
Wild Wild
committee,
West,
but-
too.
So just right now, there is scheduled a company to come look at and do whatever they can with the tennis court. It's not a full resurface, but they are supposed to be coming. I don't know the exact date. It was September was all I was told. So
Okay, are they coming to both sets of courts though? Because both sets of courts, where the JV play on the east and the varsity sounds like there's also this greater need where there's the divot that's formed, but there's also cracks and other things forming on the JV side and an issue with the gate as well.
Right.
That, I just want to make sure that both sides are being looked at when the person
as
comes
far
to
as I
do
know,
that.
they both are, and to permanently fix it would require them to be completely replaced
Yeah, they failed.
Both sets.
The capital
So-
project failed that would have.
in 2019.
Right. So my two contributions to the Wild West, I was going to circle back, and my oldest daughter played tennis as well, and so we're talking a good 10 years at this point where there have been complaints about the tennis courts. So I know that it's been discussed in the past. I don't think it ever was given the priority. It even surpassed the turf fields. I don't think it was ever prioritized or made it that far, but I think we should make sure that we are looking at it. I know during the last capital project, the committee, what was it called, the Future Ready Committee, tennis courts did not come up then. There were other priorities, but I think we really need to look at them. I have seen kids sprain their ankles and they keep playing, but it is very true that there are these divots and they're also filled with like molds or
Yeah.
mildew, black mildew.
I was on varsity tennis this past year, and I've been at tennis, like a member of the JV tennis team the 2 years before that. And whenever it rains, that water's not going away, no matter how sunny it gets afterward. I remember we had to cancel one of our games this past year just because the water wasn't gone from our court. Like there's like a little divot where like a little puddle forms. The water wasn't going away from the courts, and we didn't have enough courts to keep the match going, so we had to cancel it.
Yeah, like people have been out there with the leaf blowers trying to fix it.
Leaf blowers, squeegees. We were put to work that morning, I remember.
And then it's still slippery, to be honest with you. So I hope we can look into this. Then, shoot, you stole my thunder. Hold on. Tennis courts. When you're 47, you'll forget too, Parth. Hold on. The assistant coach thing. That did come up last year, and then it wasn't considered a priority. I think that, I'm speaking to tennis specifically now. We have always treated assistant coaches like it's a luxury. I think we need to look at that again. I'm going to use tennis as a specific example. The fact that there are two different courts in tennis, the players themselves are responsible for determining whether a ball is out or not. There are no referees. You're talking about teenagers, so sometimes there's conflict, and there's no adult around to either coach the student, the player who's upset by the bad call, or to determine if the call was good or not. So literally, Deb Murray has to run from one end to the other, and one of our more vocal parents needs to be like, Deb, help, we need you over here. And then it takes her X number of minutes to come over. So I'm just saying, for practical reasons, I do think that tennis should be prioritized because of the locations of the courts. Now, in general, my feeling has been that we have students that go to our school that really do depend on athleticism to help them get to that next level in life. Okay, they depend on those scholarships. They're invested. Their families have invested, and so I think we need to take that seriously and also consider assistant coaches across the board. I know some people on the board think it's a luxury, but I would still encourage us to have the conversation and keep the conversation going. I don't believe it was that expensive at the end of the day. Go ahead.
I'd like to kind of I don't want to almost say piggyback, but it's somewhat similar. If we're going to make the decision, because I'm not saying that we don't need to do the courts, because we've all seen the courts, we've heard, but I guess my question is, I looked through everything because I've been on the board for a bit, and the last thing that we've heard about this was from 2022. So
for the
all of
courts?
these sprains and issues and things like that, when we had the future ready, no one came forward, no one said anything. Not saying that it's not, not saying that it's not an issue, but I'd like, if we're going to do this, to then see, because like you talked about assistant coaches, I don't think anyone was opposed to that. But like, let's talk about the girls' golf team that only has a varsity team that has one person that they're going around. The boys have a JV, they don't have a JV, and they don't have an assistant coach. There are other sports that
Field
don't
hockey.
have them. Like, I
Field
think
hockey,
if we're
yeah.
going to talk tennis also, I think we need to talk the athletic program
Yeah.
in general to see everything.
I
not
agree with
just
you.
one sport over
Totally agree with
another.
you. We did hear from field hockey. I don't know if you remember. I think Jen Sykes told us that they're the only fall sport that doesn't have an assistant coach, if I'm not mistaken. So like she's comparing to all the other sports that play on the turf fields.
Yeah, that's turf field, so that's not the only fall sport,
just-
because golf,
right.
yeah, I'm just saying. 'cause
No, I'm just
golf
trying to give
is
you an
a
example
sport.
of other sports.
Yeah.
But maybe Dave Austin would be the best source to see if
Yeah,
he's heard
'cause
from other
I
people.
think instead of, I think as a whole, we've heard, like, we hear a lot. First, we heard about the turf, then we heard about, like, everything, and they're all in need, but instead of piecemealing it, I'd like to hear a full report. Like, like to hear from the parents of all the teams. I'd like to hear from the actual coaches. I'd like to hear from Dave Austin. I'd like to hear what's needed instead of every single year having a huge project that all of a sudden comes up, but then we look and it's like, no, this has been, because I remember that it was the $41.3 million 2019 capital project that then we had to cut 10 to 31.3, and because it was like we had to give some things up.
No, that's great. Do you think you
So-
can help us get that info?
I think my question is, and I don't know who can answer this for us right now. With the information that has come forward tonight from these parents, do we have any legal responsibility to not allow them to use these courts anymore if they are a risk to them?
I don't know that a firm evaluation has been done as to whether they're a safety risk to the point that they have to be closed or not. I believe that's what you're kind of asking, right?
I am asking because if we heard tonight that there was, even if it was just a sprained ankle, I mean, with the limited knowledge I have, to me that means we've been notified that it's an issue. And so if we continue to allow usage of these tennis courts, are we leaving ourselves vulnerable?
Well, I'll tell you right now, we open the doors every day. We're vulnerable every day. So,
Well,
to a
but
certain
this
degree,
is-
the answer is yes to that question.
Okay, so I just think we should, just so we have that information too.
That's fair. Thank you. Okay, then my last Wild West thing was, I think I've been the most vocal on the board about my concerns about the cell phone ban policy.
I don't think that's true.
Okay, maybe I've made the most expressive faces that have been caught. So I thought it would be fair to report my personal experience, which is that I've asked the students, and in general, they have been fine with it socially, which was my biggest concern. The very first day, I was very surprised to hear from a few seniors that it was fine, and it was actually the word that was used was good. So that blew my mind, and I just wanted to share that publicly because that was great to hear. And so I was wrong, apparently, with that. I also want to say that. The only concerns I've heard, or criticisms, I should say, are specific to the Yonder pouch itself, not the cell phone removal. So it looks like we're going to continue to have discussions about that piece. So go ahead.
kind of adding on to what you said, yeah, I'm also a senior here, so there are a lot of things that were put in place to help us adjust with the yonder pouches that I think were amazing. I believe in the main cafeteria there's a table for foosball if you want to go play that during lunch, and there's also cornhole outside, which my friends and I play almost every day. I won yesterday, by the way, me and Ryan, just saying. But yeah, overall, the yonder pouches haven't been, from what I've heard, again, I represent a very, very small population of this school, just like to put that out there, but people have said they haven't been as bad as they thought they were. It's kind of encouraged socialization among a lot of people because like you kind of have to talk to people now, and it's been really nice to see. So again, I represent a very small population, but that's what I've seen as well. So
Yeah.
it's been going very, very smoothly.
I've asked, I would say, at least 24 students in grades 10 and seniors, and not a single one of them, in terms of the socialization piece, reported anything negative. One of them, one of my kids who like barely talks to me, I have to like ask questions like this, told me all about how they had a long discussion about the varieties of apples in New York. So I don't think that would have happened last year. So I just want to put that out there as a positive.
How do you like those apples?
Thank you, Nina. So I wanted to admit that because I have given some of my fellow board members a hard time off the record. Okay.
I think that the next part of the conversation is likely if part of this is brain development and the way that I have a feeling that Chromebooks in elementary schools is likely another part of the conversation in terms of how much time, how are they necessary, how are these things. So I think there's more to come.
Not sure I can handle that this evening, Peter. Okay. But thank you for putting that there. Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Katie, second Nina, or Kim, I'm sorry, second Kim, my bad. All right, all those in favor, do we have to do that? Okay, 9-0. Thank you, everyone.